sure. Just making sure. I think we're live. Pretty sure we're live. But let's double check, shall we? Cool. Yeah, looks like it to me. Looks like it to me. Yeah, we're good. Okay, and my audio is coming through. The music's coming through. The pug wants nap time. Of course he does. All right. Okay. Yep. Okay. All is right with the world. All I can think about is freaking look at how much better of a streamer I am than Hassan. You don't see me shocking my dog. Got him. Yeah, you get all the lap time you want. Although, in all fairness, if I had a dog the size of Hassan's dog, then I don't think I'd want lap time. At least not on stream. I'd still want lap time. We would just, not on stream though. Oh, okay. Whoa. Chat is not. If that's even relevant. Yeah, 1 second. I don't have the chat is really working. I'm really not that worried about it. In fact, I'm going with like a chatless stream, and people want to say something, they'll say it, and I will respond to it. I don't know if it needs to be on the screen. It's not entirely necessary. We'll just do, oops. That's not what we want. Kind of doing a few last minute revisions just for fun to the setup here. Of course, I have an ultra wide monitor, but I'm going to share with you guys the, everything. Put it on a 16:9 aspect ratio. You're going to lose a little bit of visibility on the sides, but you're going to see the most of it. So, yeah, that's good. Got our World of Warcraft music going, and we got our oh goodness! All right, well, aren't you getting comfy? What is that better? We need more back support. Goodness gracious! You're such a diva. Do you know that? Erase the little princess. He's a boy, but I'm gonna call him a little princess anyways. You know, you little needy princess. Silly creature. Okay. What next? So we did some pretty wild stuff last time. Got that water all set up and ready. Because it's like the water is like a texture that we can like manipulate now. As you can see, we've done so right here. Really cool. It's okay. These little like choppy kind of edges, we can just iron it out with like waterfall sprites or something like that. That'll clean up that up. I guess we could work on Crageth. I mean, this is going to be like a really difficult location to get right. Because do Kragatha. I mean, Eldor, which is this continent over here, this kind of eastern continent. I think we've more or less got like almost all of the terrain, like elevation down here. It's more or less perfect. Obviously, we're missing all the sprites, but we're not doing those right now. Whoop, whatever the hell that was, don't click that. Okay. I'm gonna raise these mountains a little bit, I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to really say uh, today. I mean, I can talk your guys' ears off, and I'm more than welcome to do so, but I will probably just doing a stream. Just linked it on the Discord. But yeah, I'm probably just going to like mute myself and build the world. And if anybody enters here at any point in time and they have a question they would like to run by me, then by all means you are free to do so. But until then, I'm going to shut up and get to work. That's what we're gonna do. See, this is why I need to have text on the screen. I just now noticed your comment. Worldstone Chronicles. How are you doing? I'm doing great. I wish I could breathe a little bit better, but unfortunately, I have like this kind of how would I describe it? It's like this. It's a creature, and it has like a lot of hair, but it has a really like weird face, and it like makes like these like pig-like sounds, and it just kind of like crawls on me sometimes, and it just dies. There it is. There's a pig sound right there. So yeah, it'll just kind of tend to do that from time to time, and I just kind of gotta deal with it. Um, so yeah, but other than that, I'm in the middle of making the world map right now. I have that big old giant massive 2D map that I kind of made on my own. I think it was last year, and I'm going through the process of tracing it. Um, but you know that image only contains so much information. Like it contains, sure, it knows I know where the rivers are, where the towns are, where the roads are, or whatever. But you know, I know where the mountains are, but I don't know how big the mountains are because it was a 2D image and this is a 3D environment. So there's a big difference between those two things. So it is. There's quite a lot of well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. There's quite a lot of what's the word choice? I don't think interpolation is the right word choice. Interpretation. There we go. Interpretation, like that has to be done when looking at this image to determine, okay, well, here's a mountain. How big should it be, though? But yeah, I'm actually almost done with the Eastern continent. You know, I know that, like, you have to kind of look at this. Ooh, I can turn on the post-processing effects, too. It'll look even cooler with that. There you go. That looks a little bit more naturalistic, right? Looks pretty cool, but I'll turn this map reference off. Obviously, it's a very barren landscape right now, and this is, by the way, like it goes without saying, like this is a miniaturized kind of version of it, right? Like how it's gonna. I wonder if I can hit play. We'll see. I doubt that this is gonna work. No wait, it actually is working. Oh my god. Hold on. That's not what I need. I bet you we could kind of get this to work. 1 second. No, I need like a 1 second. Scenes, levels. Warcraft. Yeah, I can actually enter play mode and move my camera around WAC right now through this environment. But first, I need to snag something from the... It is not the proper light box for the crag. Yeah, I can do that. I just need to set a... Oh, it's okay, monkey. It's okay. Turn this off. F to focus. Down. Set this about up there. So the reason why my camera like sank through the world is because we have a different system for our colliders. We use a plane or something like that to act as the floor of the camera, and that wasn't implemented, but now it is. This is a very much a temporary placeholder. We will okay, let's try that one more time. Oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, you get it. So now I can move my camera around WASD style, and I can kind of move it. But here, let's hide the UI. That's not really necessary. There you go. So yeah, this is kind of like the game, you'll be able to you'll move your camera around like this, right? And it'll be like this big kind of like, and it's a miniaturized version of the world map. And so like, oh, okay, like this will be a capital city that you can siege. Will be this, and so you can click on this and click like an attack now button or something, and then the camera will like zoom into the location and it will fade into like a loading screen or something like that, and then the battle will begin. But you'll be able to kind of browse around the whole world of Eldinar, and I'd like to also have like some things that you can click in this environment that are like lore, like interactables or something like that would be very neat. So yeah, this is just the start, but building that, a lot of building that. There's a massive lava ocean over here, pretty cool. Molten Legion ride iron boats in there. What about your game? You're working on a game. What are you working on? Genre. Give me your elevator pitch. All of the game dev things. This window does not need to be this big. Yeah, elevator pitch. Like essentially like in like 1 to 2 sentences. Like like you're in an elevator with somebody. It's a common phrase, and like you only have a short window of time to to sell your game idea, to sell it to a potential investor like really quickly, right? So you have to try to like hook them in as few words as possible. So if you can type out like a single sentence, like what's cool. For example, like an elevator pitch for Conquest of Eldinar would be in a Blizzard like RTS, but with player controlled action combat and 16 factions. There you go. Like that's like within like 1 to 2 sentences, it kind of summarizes what makes this game so cool and why you should buy it. CRPG and fantasy. Hey, there you go. Worldstone Chronicles. So you're just repping then. Like, with your username. You gotta rep everywhere you go. Which I totally understand. I mean, I have literally right here is my MythWard Entertainment. Like I have like clothing and merch I pretty much wear like literally wherever I go. So I totally get that. I support that, man. That just means that like you're in the headspace of your game and your product. You're representing it. RPG, yeah, CRPG. So what are you using, like RPG Maker or something like that? Godot? Is it also in Unity? Oh, that's cool. Are you a friend of his? One of his friends from school or something? He is actually out tonight, by the way. Obviously, he's out tonight. Yeah, normally he's on these streams as well, but he has his own. He had activities planned for the night, so could not be here. But I'm sure he will be back next week. We had a very entertaining stream last week. A lot of stuff to talk about. It's Halloween night, and we actually had a decent amount of people on stream, more so than I would have expected. Yeah, if you're ever interested, I mean, all of those kind of streams are still live on the channel. That is a thing that people can go and look at. Yeah, I'm almost done with this Eastern continent. I just have a clearly just like a few more mountain ranges up here in the north to do. And then I can move over to the western continent, which I'm only going to do about 2 zones of. And then I'm going to leave it fairly placeholdery while I focus on switching over to like textures and like trees and stuff for this map. I see. I use for my Unity project pathing. Yeah, pathing systems. Yeah, Ziad's made some pretty major advancements in that recently. Thank goodness. And that stuff is no joke, man. Like that stuff will consume a lot of development time, to say the very least. That's a little, not entirely, but it's slightly out of my like pay grade in a sense that like I'm an artist, so I don't concern myself too much with like the semantics of like how pathing works. But from what Ziad tells me and from what I can see and tell, it is not easy, to say the least. The mostly what I'm alluding at is like the performance of it, because it's like without proper pathing, especially like if your game has a lot of like AI and NPCs and whatnot, then it will reduce the difficulty of your game because the AI will not know how to properly like navigate your environment, and that's a pain. And also in our particular game, it's like such an absolute priority because it's like, well, it's an RTS, and you wouldn't want like your units to like be really dumb like when moving around the environment. So you have to have good pathing, not only so that the enemies are actually challenging, but the player doesn't feel frustrated by their own units not doing what they want them to be doing. So yeah, the performance is wicked compared to what Unity has boxed. Yeah. I'm really happy. I think I touched on it in one of our Flash Dev logs. Like, I'm really happy with the improvements that we've made in our optimization lately. A lot of that came from some spine stuff that we did, which is what we use for all of our characters. But also some of that came from some big improvements we've made recently to our pathing in Conquest of Eldinar. So, yeah, absolutely. So, how long have you been working on your game? Do you have a planned release or something like that? For us here at Conquest of Eldinar or whatever, we have a demo planned within the next couple of months. Working on that deliverable right now, and then we'll do PAX next year. Have a big fun time there, and then after that, yeah, we're staring down the barrel of an early access release. We're certainly not going to launch with all 16 factions, but we can launch with a sample size of factions and release the rest throughout the early access period. Switch over to now this furry, hairy creature. 8 years. Wow. Is that so? Because I know what you're talking about. I mean, I started concepting. I started concepting Eldinar all the way back in like 2014 is like when I started ruminating with like the setting and the world and the idea and all that. So yeah, it's been 11 years since the start of that. But I'd say active development, like getting it in engine and actually working on this iteration of the game, that only started 5 years ago. So when you say 8 years, are you talking about like, the first builds were being made 8 years ago in Unity, or are you talking like um, that's when you started pre-production, you started working on the idea of the game? I know I stopped the music, but that's because I'm looking for new music, more music. Where there's a cool track. We're at 10 years then. Ah, I see. Yeah, long time. Um, we'll go with that. Okay, so yeah, that's a long time. Okay, I mean, so yeah, how are you looking on a potential release strategy then? And are you just a solo dev? Okay, this area has had enough attention for now. Ah, yeah. We've been working with a composer too lately. It's super fun to work with people like that. I have a tremendous amount of respect for people that can play instruments, but it's just not something that I myself can do. Not saying that I couldn't, you know, learn how to if I really push myself, but I don't have enough time in my life to respec that hard. I'm already good at what I do, which is 16 other departments of art. Um, I do not have time to learn an instrument. I'd rather become a master at what I'm currently doing. I'd rather stick to kind of being a consumer of music as opposed to a creator of it. Um, but I do. It doesn't change the fact that I have a tremendous amount of respect for people who can produce music. I think that's an absolutely fascinating creative field that I am not particularly gifted in. It's okay. I have other talents. He needs to tell me to stop. I'm just like, website is very nice. I do that as my main job. So game dev is like. Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I do it. You see, you can see his little face. Yeah. In fact, I'm not content in just. Well, let me show you. So here's my little webcam, and we can do. Let's turn off tracking. Scroll down here. Move the camera down, and there you have it. As I said, some sort of like weird like pig creature thing has just kind of found its way onto my lap, and it has died here. Okay, there's a little bit of movement, yeah. But outside of that, yeah, he's just fully sprawled out. Like this is my mouse hand, and then over here, what his head is literally laying on is like my keyboard hand. I can't move it because I'm supporting his head. And yeah, that's first world struggles. That's what we're dealing with tonight. So anyways, back to tracking. What was I saying? Yeah, no, slug, absolutely. Thank you very much on the compliment towards my art. I appreciate it. It's like the one thing I'm good at, so I like to kind of try to be the best I can be. Website. Yeah. What I was going to say is I work a day job too. Like, you know, Conquest of Eldinar doesn't bring home the bills yet. Obviously, that's the goal, but you know, I have a very simple kind of. Anyone who knows me knows my philosophy on these things. Do it, like succeed or die trying. It's as simple as that. You know, I think I was as a young man years ago or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna become a game developer and whatnot, and I really always wanted to do this. It was like my calling in life. And then I graduated from college with my little degree, and it was like, okay, we're gonna go make video games. And it was like impossible to find like an entry level job because, you know, I'm a little bit more of an introvert. Like I don't, you know, I'm not really good at striking up conversations with randoms. So I don't know if I just didn't grow up in the right neighborhood or didn't push myself to talk to randos hard enough, but like I just didn't make like the right connections to like go and get some. Maybe I don't live in the right area, like, you know, I don't know the right website, I don't know the right people, whatever, so on and so forth, you know, whatever excuse I want to make for myself. But like, you know, moral of the story is that like it just was not in the cards for me to have a connect at a studio and get to where I wanted to go via that path. And so cold searching entry level game art jobs online is not exactly in somebody to help get me the experience I want. You know, it's not exactly an easy thing to get into. You know, and so eventually, like 2020 hit, right, and everybody's lives kind of went up and down and all over the place for a brief period in time right there. I kind of hit my breaking point. I was like, you know what? If nobody's gonna like give me a game art job, then I'm going to make one for myself. You know, that's what it's all about. It's like don't wait for. It's the same advice I give to anybody, right? It's like don't wait for permission from somebody to tell you, you know, oh you're an artist or you're a game developer or whatever. It's like I don't need Blizzard's permission to be a game developer. I can just be one by doing the job. And don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise. Goodness gracious, dog. Oh, my arm is falling asleep. Goodness. You can hear that, right? Oh my god. I don't think there's ever been a more pathetic creature than this one right here. Me and my girlfriend, we joke all the time. You know, it's like Bilbo Puggins, like he rolled a charisma like in his character stream. Like he has no strength, no dexterity. Like those are all his dump stats. He just dumped all of his points into charisma. Like he's a maximum charisma dog. Like he has no other survival instincts or values other than just he's going to charm people into, through his immense cuteness, people into giving him food. Yeah. If a predator tries to kill him, then he will just cute it out of that. Almost done. This northern. When do you think you'll release? So, yeah, as I said, I mean, we have a couple. It just kind of. I mean, that's a good question, but it's in my mind, it's fairly open-ended. So the thing about that is that, you know, in a way it is, but it also isn't up to me. And let me explain. Like, this is not too, at least for me personally, right? Like, too much of my life is writing on the success of this product. So I'm gonna, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, sure, yeah, to an extent there is an element here of unpredictability that I'm just gonna have to like accept, like that I can't control whether or not this game is or is not successfully, at least not entirely. It's not entirely in my hands to control that. There's an element here of spontaneity and chaos, because I don't know how the market's going to be. I don't know what other games are going to release around mine. Like there's just so many factors at play here. However, you know, but the point that I'm trying to make is at the same time, you know, like also a part of my mindset here though is that like, I'm not, as far as I can tell, because I obviously, like, I'm sure you do too, but like, I don't know about you, but I do a lot of research on like indie games and like trends, and you know, I'm looking for the answers to these kinds of questions all the time. And it seems to me that I'm kind of rambling a little bit. Let me make the metaphor a little bit more clear. So I launched a Kickstarter back in 2023. Failed. I think we raised $7,000, $8,000 or something. It doesn't matter though, because the goal of the Kickstarter was $50,000. So it failed, and we didn't get a dime. We didn't get a dime out of it. The lesson I learned, you know, I spent 9 months like doing game development, like 14 hours a day, every single day. Like I was wasting my money away. I was wasting my health away. No more gym, no more eating healthy. It was just like, make game 14 hours a day, make the best trailer ever, make an absolute, you know, kick-ass page or whatever, make the best, highest quality thing possible, and the people will come. And I was wrong. That is not how it works. How it works is you have to already have a built-in audience that already likes your product, or there's no point in releasing it. There's no point in releasing it because you're going to crash and burn immediately. If you're not launching already with the subscribers on your YouTube channel that you need, already with the wish list that you need, already with all the Discord members that you need, if you don't have all that stuff at launch already, and people that are excited for your game and that people that are lined up to stream it, then you probably just shouldn't release, or you're screwed. Like, you're not going to hit fire after your release. You're not going to make a really good game, release it, and then people are going to discover it. They have to already know about it when you release. The odds of you like picking up momentum after release is about 100 to 1, if not less. So it's not a good idea to essentially release like whenever you want. The better question is at what point in time in the future am I going to have enough subscribers, enough wish lists, and enough followers or whatever to then go, okay, this is enough. I think we can release now. Because releasing before 10K wish list or whatever, horrible idea. You're screwed. You're cooked. Like you're gonna make like $100 on Steam. I don't know about you, but $100 is not enough to pay rent. Like if you want to be making like the big money or whatever, like you need to already have your stuff on lock before you even start thinking about a release. So, that's why it's kind of hard for me to answer that question, is because you're asking me when I release it. It's like, well, I don't know how many subscribers I'll have a year from now, but that is what's going to dictate whether or not I can or cannot release. If I have 1 million YouTube subscribers all of a sudden, let's be a little bit more humble. Let's say I have 50,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of next year. For some godforsaken miracle, I have 50,000. That might be enough. I might be able to like, okay, well, with this many people, we'll probably have a decently successful launch to start an early access phase. Okay, so we can release the game now. But if by the end of next year, I only have like 800 subs, it's not enough. It's not enough to release my game. You know, if I only have 3,000, 4,000 wish lists by the end of next year, that's not enough. 10K or more. Otherwise, your game is going to get buried day one. And if you can't make the Steam homepage, you're probably not going to make any money. And I'm not a very, to be very clear, like, I really don't care that much about money. It's not something that I really concern myself all that much with. I only care about money to an extent to continue to enable my creative pursuits and to continue the development of my studio. I don't want a lot of money because I want a Lambo. Like, I don't care. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a very vain person in that sense. Like, I'm not really interested in that kind of stuff. I just want the money so that way, like, I don't have to go work my lame day job. That's it. I just don't want to work. I just don't want to serve kettle corn to customers at an outlet mall. Not really fun. I would much rather be sitting here doing what I'm good at in making art that people enjoy. It seems to be like a much better use of my time in my life. Interesting. It's an interesting little outline that we kind of get around the landmass. Yeah, 10K at least. Yes, sir. That's the strat. You gotta, you know, you really don't get to choose. Well, I mean, yeah, okay. Like, to an extent, like, you don't get to choose when you release it. I mean, yes, you can, but like, it depends. You know, kind of. Depends is kind of what I'm saying. You know, it depends on what you're going for here. Are you trying to be successful or not? Like, because if you are, then there's certain kind of requirements that need to be met before you can really consider releasing. But yeah, to also give a much more simpler answer to your question, I would say if it was within my control and I had the wish list and all that, and development has been going well, then I would say I enjoy the idea of releasing about 1 year from now. Oh, I love you too, but no, you're gonna go get in bed though. Oh, sorry. My arm needs to breathe. Ooh. I can feel the blood rushing back to my arm. It's being suffocated by this walrus pig creature. Yes, to answer that question, yes, I have had one or two. I mean, yeah, the biggest like wishlist spike we've ever had was what's his name? I'm gonna put him on blast here real quick. His name is YouTube RTS News. This guy, this is why I'm pulling him up, because I cannot say his name. Parafilozov. Parafilozov. Anyways, 42K subscribers or whatever, pretty nice. He does a bunch of RTS news. He like covered our game like once, like in one of his videos, and it was a long time ago. Like hell, I remember which one it was, but yeah, he covered our game once, and we immediately saw a pretty juicy spike in wish lists as a result of it. Um, my feed, oh, my YouTube feed, like, I don't know how that stuff works. I really don't even use like the YouTube homepage all that much. I like just go straight to my subscribers. Am I the only person that does that? Like, sorry, my subscribers, my subscriptions. Like, I've like subscribed to the people that I like, and then like that's the people that I go there to like watch, and that's about it. Like, I don't like just doom scroll YouTube. That's not something that I do. Um, I'm not sure. You know, I kind of live in a bubble though, so I'm not sure how other people use the platform. As an artist, what kind of art style do you have going on with your game? Should like, do you have any YouTube videos on it? I'll pull it up. Say comment on art. I can't really comment on programming, but I can comment on art. 'Cause I am an art person. I feel like there's so many you know, why aren't they popular enough? Well, it's probably because you don't upload enough, Corey. Gosh. Anyways, no, that's not the problem. But the point is like I don't know, like I don't feel like there's a whole lot of like channels that are dedicated to like game artists as opposed to like there's always like the programmers or something like I don't know. I have a couple, but I can't really list them off the top of my head. Like I don't know, like Brackies or Code Monkey or that other guy that made the snail game, the German guy. I don't know, Bite Me Games. Like I'm always taught, you know, all of these channels or whatever. These are like programmers, and they have like their programmer art or whatever. They're constantly giving you like their programmer perspectives or whatever. But like, I'm like an artist. Like, bro, I don't know what you binary Linux whatever. Like I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. Like I make pictures look pretty. Like that's what I do. Like, is there any other like real like game artists that do like game design and more specifically game art? Is there any like popular ones on YouTube? Do I live in a because I would love some recommendations for people that are kind of more in my realm in that sense. Um, sucks me in. Stay away from it. The homepage sucks me in. Okay, I will. I'll take your advice on that one then. Yeah, because I kind of essentially like my morning ritual, like you know, because I feel like you hit your alarm clock, right, and then you're sitting there, and you're like, I'm tired, like I don't necessarily want to get up, and then you might doze off back to sleep again. Not good. Here's what you do: the second you wake up and you hit your alarm clock or whatever, you need to immediately grab something in your environment and like focus your brain on something so that you don't fall back to sleep. And then it's like once your brain has kind of been online for like a few minutes and it realizes that it's not going back to sleep, then it will kind of allow you to wake up. So my morning ritual is like immediately go to your phone, immediately hit subscriptions on YouTube and scroll through your feed and check the news, essentially. Like check the latest like game news or movie news or whatever, and like scroll through your feed real quick, see what like the people that you've subscribed to have uploaded. Don't like start watching a video immediately, but you can start like adding stuff to your like watch later. So when you're in the car or the bathroom or whatever later, like you can watch those videos. And then you're awake. So that's my morning ritual. But you know, I don't like browse the YouTube homepage as much. I'm sure lots of people do that though. It's not as big as I want it to be. 3D. There's not a lot of drawing, but me doing textures and stuff. Yeah, okay, so what, you do 3D modeling then? Because it's a 3D game? So I presume you're 3D modeling? That's it. You're in here and you're the one talking to me, so I'm putting you on blaster. I'll tell you what, I'll pull you up on my side monitor so I don't have to, you know. See, I found you. Let me see here. Hey, got more subscribers than me. Good job. Content update. Oh. Well, this looks sick. Give me permission to show your game on stream, because I will. Yeah, that's what I've been using the past year, because I started using Blender to do like all of the 3D structures in Eldinar. So like, I don't know, what's an asset I have here? Custom 3D, Molten Legion, Garrison. How about that, right? There you go. There you go. So I just learned how to do 3D. Here's like the Garrison for the Molten Legion, modeled in Blender, and then the textures are hand done by me. It's really my first time doing 3D, so you know, it's fitting the style of my game. Like, are they like the most high res, cool stuff ever? No, absolutely not. But like, it's not bad for like my first time making a video game. Like, I think I'm doing pretty good, and I think it works for the art style for my game. So I hope that in my next game I'll really start pushing the graphical fidelity of my 3D stuff even further. But you know, this is good enough for now. And thank you. I think your game looks great.
Getting some different.
Yeah. Love it. It's also kind of, yeah, I mean, I love this. So is it, when you say a CRPG, does that mean combat RPG? Yeah, this is cool. Sorry, I'm just kind of looking at this, but yeah, you're in Unity too. I like your art style. It kind of oh, you said, oh, sure. Okay, I see. Okay, great. So this is what I'm pulling up then. Yeah, I like your art style. It reminds me of let me see here. Like, it don't take this the wrong way. It's like a much more. It's like a much more graphically intense like version of like RuneScape, like it's RuneScape, but if it had good graphics, you know, is what I'm saying. So I'm certainly not trying to say that like your graphics are, you know, because RuneScape is certainly like not breaking any, like not winning any awards in the graphics territory, but you're like the higher fidelity version of that. Like, I don't know, like the perspective of your camera reminds me. I like the color palette. I like the grunge. I love that map. That's a cool map. I just clicked on whatever your latest video was. I like your UI. I'm a huge Blizzard person, so of course, like, you know, the circles, the health bars, that kind of reminds me of Warcraft. I love the color palette here. It's very like homey. And this UI, it's like retro but cool. I love how deep the systems are. Let me see here. Points left. Based, by the way, you give them attribute points that they can put in. I'm sick and tired of like modern games kind of like numbing down RPG elements, and I see that you have like a very decent amount of RPG elements in here. Clarity, endurance, quickness, wisdom, charisma. You have a bunch of attribute points you can spend. Range, you got speed, armor, block, dodge. Power, you evade. Wait, evade and dodge are two different things. You might have to explain that to me. Poison, disease, light, fire, ice, water, earth, lightning, magic, dark bleed. Sick. Lockpick, luck, disarm traps. This is cool. Yeah? Ooh, that's cool. It's retro, but like in the best way possible. Hey, I see now. I'm seeing where the whole pathfinding and how you and Ziad kind of talk to each other. I'm seeing where that's coming from. So you did you do all the assets? And by the way, like to be very clear, I have nothing to prove to anyone. As you can tell, I'm a pretty decent artist. But do I also flip some assets off of the asset store to speed up development where I can? Absolutely. So in my opinion, there's zero shame in that. Like get good or go home. Like you know. So anyways, I'm not accusing you of getting assets from the asset store, but I would just be curious, like what elements of your pipeline is something that you did that you're experienced with, and how much of it did you like outsource any of it? Because I certainly have. What have I outsourced? Like I outsourced a lot of our ground textures. Like I could paint a dirt texture, I could, and it'd be very easy for me to do so. But like that's something that I can outsource with relative ease, and it's not gonna like destroy the art style of my game or whatever. So, to each his own. Essentially, is also my philosophy there. But it's a silly name. It's a silly RPG for computers. It's unique. Yeah, for these kinds of games. Yeah. Yeah, so like what is like I'm seeing like the RPG system, but like so what's like the combat system in your game? I'm curious. It's combat music, cool. We have our composer working on our music right now. I'm super excited to release it. I'm gonna have to listen to your music later. You have a bunch of your music on here. Tell you what, by the way, guess what? Boom. You saw it here. Subscription. Yeah, nice. Ooh. Enemy design? Okay, I love creatures. These zombies, well, it kind of reminds me of a zombie. I don't know if it was, but it kind of reminds me of the Redeads from Zelda, like Ocarina of Time. Like if you made his eyes black, and do they have like a circle for mouth, or like they have like a black circle for the mouth and then like two black dots for their eyes or whatever? Or no, they have teeth. Okay, now I have to look this up. Zelda Redead. Yeah, it reminds me of these things. I guess they do have teeth, not a open mouth. That's cool. But obviously yours. Oh, whoa! It's like a creepy banshee thing. So is this? Wait, is this Blender? Doesn't look like Blender. You said Blender, but not the Blender that I'm familiar with. Pathing is one which is a very advanced system. Huh, this is some really cool stuff, man. I'm gonna check it out more later. Listen to that music, because I love me some fantasy music. I'll certainly check it out more later. Right now, I got more work to do here, but I will definitely be checking that out later. But thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate it. I thought it looked like an alien. Like when you say alien, like the only thing I'm thinking of is like HR Geek or like Sigourney Weaver, like alien, like Xenomorph, like Alien versus Predator. Alien is like the alien that I think of. Speaking of Predator, by the way, I just saw Badlands last night. I went and saw like the midnight premiere Thursday or whatever. It's kind of awesome. I highly recommend it to like everybody. It was dope as all hell. So yeah, just gonna throw that out there. If anyone was on the fence about seeing that, could not recommend high enough. Oh, it's old Blender. I see. Yeah, I must be using like a newer version then. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you've been working on your game for 10 years. Yeah. 10 years, man. I mean, wow. So like, what are your wish lists at? I mean, I guess you don't have to post that in chat if you don't want to, but Unless, did you already say it at the top? No, you said 10K, but... Yeah, I don't think you did. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I literally just released it, the latest like Flash devlog that I did, kind of shared with everybody that I'm just at over 2K myself. So, yeah, we'll see. What was that sound? Yeah, we're good. My face is on so many of these thumbnails. What a nerd. Anyways, okay, this year's been slow. Quiet working. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm almost at that point, me personally, where it's like, I'm gonna try like 1 or 2 big marketing swings. I mean, between me streaming every week, me doing Flash devlogs every week, me helping with some other videos that we produce, and now I'm making a short animated film for the channel. And then I'm also making the game, I mean, sound design, 3D modeling, texturing, world design, bug, like, tracker / management, game testing, UX, did I say animation and textures, illustrations, managing other members of the team. Like, I'm as spread as far as one could possibly spread the butter, all of the butter that you have in your fridge. It's just like, I'm spread out so thin across so many different things. Yeah, I'm at that point where it's like, okay, I kind of want to like wrap up a few things that I'm working on, and then like just hard pivot to working on the game and like nothing but the game, like constantly. Like I'll still like put out like Flash devlogs. We'll see if I keep streaming. I'm not sure. You know, it all just kind of comes down to like what's working. You know, what do people want? What's working? But yeah, I mean, I'll do whatever people want, but like I just need to do what's best for the game. And yeah, I think, you know, maybe there's a point to be made here for like, okay, well, just like make the game faster and like make it bigger and better, and then hope that like, you know, I don't know, like we could get the game and some people on Steam get it in their hands, or on like Twitch or whatever, right? Like we could just, maybe if we just focus on like finishing the game, as opposed to like trying to like do like dual marketing efforts while making the game, because it takes, you know, every time I'm like streaming or not necessarily streaming, but you know, doing Flash devlogs or doing animated films or videos or whatever, like all this other stuff that I'm doing, like it does eat into the time every week that I have to actually make the game itself. And it's a fairly taxing game in terms of like art and design. Like there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. And every time I spin off to do some marketing activity, like I'm eating into that time. So it's a push and a pull, that's for sure. So let's see, I'm just going to take a break on marketing and finish my game first. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right, you know, like maybe it's really like finish game first, and then before you launch, have like a dedicated like marketing phase of like 6 months where like you're not really making the game anymore, but you are like constantly like throwing whatever build you have or something like that. You're constantly throwing it out there, trying to get streamers or YouTubers or whomever to you know, maybe you go to a few exhibition events, although in my personal opinion, those are really, I would say, like, if you are demotivated, go to an exhibition event, like PAX or something like that, right? Like if you're demotivated, go to one of those and bring your game with you. That will motivate you. You will feel the love injection of people and gaming in that community. and that will reinvigorate your spirits. But if you're going to market your game, it's not actually gonna do that much. You know, I could be wrong here. Again, like, people should always take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Like, I haven't released my first game or whatever. Like, you know, who am I to criticize or tell anybody else what to do? But, like, I'm just going based off of what I've learned. And what I learned is that, like, you know, we did our first packs. I think I broke it down in a video once, but, like, we did packs or whatever, right? And I think we got, like, like, I forget, we got like 60, maybe 90 like wish lists from packs. So pretty good. Like, people came, they found out about our game, and we got like 60 to 90, I think, wish lists or whatever. And then after PAX weekend was over, that one guy, the RTS like YouTuber that I showed you, he just put like a 30-second, 1-minute clip of Eldinar at the very end of his video and talked about it for like just a second, just introducing people to the game. The second that video dropped, we got like 1,000 wish lists. So it just goes to show you that, like, you can spend thousands of dollars to go to an exhibition event and like present your game like in the real world in front of all these people or whatever, and you'll get some wish lists, but like it is entirely about getting like people that already have audiences to cover your game. That's what it's all about. So it's wild. It's wild, but that's the best way to do it. So maybe we should just finish our games and then get those people to play our games, and then we don't have to do all this marketing stuff. Although I definitely want to go check out your devlogs now. Okay, I think I'm just about done. Yeah. All right, that's the east, more or less. Not Skolovia though. I'm gonna ignore that for now. That's the Vampire Island nation. More or less, the mountains are done for this region, which leads us to this, which is a very complicated enigma of a problem here. I think the fact that I have wish lists and it's not even ready is a good sign. I think the same applies to you. Correct. We're not doing bad. We're not, to be very clear, we're not doing bad. We could be doing better. We could always be doing better, but we're not doing bad. We have a lot more than 0 wish lists, which is a good start. And we have a few hundred subscribers between both of us. So, and in my personal opinion, I think I'm making a pretty kick-ass game worth playing. What I can tell of your game, it looks like a pretty kick-ass game worth playing. So, you know, we got a few things going for us. We just have to not like screw the landing. You know, like we got to make sure that we get the proper amount of. Got to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Got to get that up before launch. So, I'm sure we'll figure it out. Okay, so what do we know about this region? We know that Shade Marsh. So this particular region, this is the dinosaur land. It's actually like a crater that's like it's in the world. So I have to more so than like Garn, which is like this area over here. Like this is like just plains. You know, it's the orc plains that they roam and they hunt and stuff on. So, this region though has a lot of verticality to it that I have to capture. And this is the spoiler alert, but who's gonna watch back and watch this? But you know, whatever. Yeah, the Chaturig, the lizard race, they are the 4th race being released in the game, so they will be included, not in the demo, but they will be included in the early access period of the game. So, which means that their portion of the map is, in fact, relevant for me to do, because they're going to be in the demo. Or, sorry, the early access launch. Which means I can't skip on that. So if I can just put this, and then we could like start building it up, layer by layer, perhaps. You know, Shade Marsh is the bottom, and then the Highlands. Okay. Like we just kind of need to do like a I'm sculpting a Spinosaurus's spine. It's cutting into the earth itself. Yeah, not when, or sorry, not if, but when we make like an Eldinar RPG someday, like Kragath, man, this is it. This is gonna be such a cool region to explore. Okay, so we could probably take liberties here and essentially say that. This no, what's it called? The Dread Gap or something? Dread Pass. This is like a reference to Peter Jackson's King Kong. There's like a big trench here with like scary insects in it, and look, there's even a log that's over it, connecting them. So that's cool. But the Ogrote, or the Ogrom, that tribe of Tuturg is over there. They're the Ogrom are surprisingly, I mean, they can eat meat, but they don't really prefer it. Like they prefer to eat like chitinous kind of stuff. Like they eat like bugs. They eat the bugs. They're bug-eating lizards. Like, look, they have like more like salamander characteristics as opposed to like the Goroks, and they're gray. The Goroks are the common Tuturg type in the game. They're like the green ones, and they have like the really big jaws, and they're really muscular. They look like a T-Rex if it was a humanoid, more or less. The Goroks vastly prefer meat. They eat no bugs that would be like beneath them. I don't think that they would have that in common with their cousins. So you've been working on your game for a long time. I take it you created essentially a fantasy world and did all the world building for it and stuff as well. So stuff that I'm saying is not entirely exclusive to myself. Like, you understand world building and whatnot. pretty crazy making something out of nothing. That's just my perspective. Watch like every girl in chat be like, yeah, gee, that would be crazy. It's like, okay, yeah, well, you know, you're cheating. I don't have your biology. I can't do that. Love that you're adding dinos in it. I made an underground dino zone in my game. It was probably the most fun scene I've done. That is cool. That reminds me of that game Hightail that never came out. It's like a much cooler version of Minecraft. They were. I watched like all their behind the scenes stuff because I was really excited about it, and then got shut down or whatever. Although I think they're trying to revive it. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, that game had like a. Yeah, you know, the kind of like journey to the center of the earth. You know, there's a hidden world underground and there's dinosaurs in it. That's also a kind of classic trope. It's pretty cool. There's hints of that here because, you know, I don't know, Krageth is in the earth more. It's not in the center of the earth of Eldinar or whatever, but like it's, you know, it's not on the traditional like surface lands. But yeah, I'm like a huge Jurassic Park fan, and you know I couldn't help myself but find a way to add some dinos into the game. My general philosophy though with everything in Eldinar is I'm a very like, you know. In another lifetime, I was a psychologist. Like, absolutely. I'm very much into and interested in people's, like, emotions and, like, understanding, like, what makes somebody ticks. Like, what's their motivation. Like, understanding their character. Like, this is all stuff that I find to be, like, extremely fascinating. So, pretty much every single race in Eldinar, it's... Sure, a lot of the times they have, like, the aesthetics of, you know, some... classic wild thing that you know we're all familiar with. It's like, oh, okay, you're doing lizardmen, you know, like, oh, like Warhammer or whatever. It's like, yeah, well, first of all, I created my lizardman race before I even knew Warhammer existed. Like, it was not something that I knew that there was. And then I was like, damn it, now people are going to accuse me of copying this. But anyways, no, but that's not really the point. The point is like, sure, like the Chaturg might aesthetically be like a lizardman race or whatever, like a lot of the ones that you can see in other fantasy settings and whatnot. But like, whether it's the Chaturg, whether it's the Lichborn, whether it's the Dragonics or the Zenaris, like every race, even the more like wild races that aren't humans, I treat them like they are humans, you know. And I'm very interested in understanding like the psychology of that race and what makes them tick. Why do they do what they do? Like, what motivates them? How do they think? Like, what's their culture like? What do they eat? Where do they sleep? Who do they pray to? Who are their enemies? Why are they their enemies? You know, what's their history? Like, what, you know, what do the males look like? What do the females look like? What do they you know, what's the mating rituals like? How do the younglings like become like adults? Like I don't know. There's just a million questions that you could ask about. Okay, you're crafting a lizard man culture. It's like, okay, but what does that actually mean though? Like, what does that mean? Like, I'm not just interested in the Chaturg as an aesthetic. I'm interested in them as a potential conduit to explore like themes of nurture versus nature. Like, for example, okay, you have big green lizard men that eat everybody. In fact, they even sometimes cannibalize, and they're very aggressive. Why? Why? Is it because they're animals? Is it because they're savages, but they're capable of speech? And they're capable of relationships. They're capable of hunting coordinations and very intelligent like characteristics. Okay, so why is that creature then choosing to be a Hulk and cannibalize other people or whatever? Like why? And so in their race or whatever, I like to explore like themes of nature versus nurture. Like, are they bred and trained to act this way, or is it, is it in their nature, or are they trained to behave this way, or is it there something in their environment that is causing them to behave like this? And so that's why my take on it is essentially like this is kind of like a well, this environment is just so harsh and so unforgiving that of course this environment would yield a race of people that are like, okay, it's either eat or be eaten here. So the tolerance for like weakness and being the runt of the pack or whatever, like these kinds of things would not be tolerated in Chaturk society because you'll just get eaten. Like, and so they're not going to get attached to weaklings that they know provide their tribe no value. They don't help provide food. And if you don't help provide food or whatever, then you just become food instead. Like, you have to have some kind of use. They have a very utilitarian kind of value mindset as well. So I don't know, exploring the psychology of each and every race and understanding like why they become what they are is the most interesting like driving motivator for me creating them, outside of just the aesthetics. Of course, I love lizardmen, riding dinosaurs and going to war. Like, that's awesome. Of course, absolutely, sign me up. But I want to get invested in characters that have like layers and nuance, and I want to ask questions about them, and I want those questions to have interesting answers beyond just they're lizardmen and they're cool. Like, sure, but why though? Like, that it's just that's me, right? Like, I have to know. I'm a very curious person. Yeah. Don't even get me started on the Dragonics race. My Dragonkin race. They're like the more or less the ultimate example of what it is that I'm talking about here. Where it's like you give them an interesting premise, an interesting kind of starting thesis, which is like, well, what if you built an entire society around like Nietzschean philosophy, like the Ubermensch becoming like the ultimate person, and you built an entire society on like supremacy and passion is king. It's the number one guiding principle. Passion leads to truth in all cases, because you can't be passionate about a lie. You can't be. You can only be passionate about truth, or at least your perception. So regardless, the Dragonics, more so than any other race, they think that they're right, and they have to prove it because they're really passionate about it. And so, what if you had an entire society that's built around that idea, and then that comes into conflicts with others? Like, I don't know. That's an interesting in my mind. That's an interesting premise to explore and see where you can go with that. So what do you have left to complete your game? What an interesting question you have asked. The better question is what is there not to complete? I mean, essentially, like our priorities have largely been focused and centered around completing like a very solid vertical slice and a demo. So we've been reaching deep, not wide. The wide is coming. But you know, it, with a game that has such ambitious content plans like Conquest of Eldinar, it would. What's a good way to phrase this? Like, it's important to ensure that there's a solid foundation for, let's say, aiming of spells, like a solid framework, right? Like a solid framework for like spells, archery, melee combat. Like these things work as intended, and they feel good baseline. That's really important because then we all know that we're adding all of these other races in or whatever. So that's super important. But if we're adding them into a baseline, imagine like we got like 5 or 6 races deep into the content, and then like realized, okay, like this melee combat is like not doing it. Like we gotta rework that. That'd probably not be good. So like getting those core systems right is still a priority for us right now, though. I mean, like we're in a much better place. It's really like we just have like a lot of polish that I think needs to be done right now. A lot of polish. And so yeah, that's what we're working on. Like game feel, and like also there's just a lot of bugs. There's a lot of bugs. Stuff works, but not always as intended. And so that stuff has to get worked out. So yeah, I mean, I gotta raise this map now. Figure out what I'm doing with this. In terms of art, I would argue that like the biggest kind of biggest problem for me would be see, this is kind of like where the mountains start coming in. So green fringe level 2. Oh no, that was down here. Okay. Sorry, just kind of figuring out what I'm supposed to be doing with the... Whoa, what is that? Not interesting. I don't think that's that. Oh, wow, no, it's not. Oh, do you see that? Do you see, like, the reflection of the water? Like, how it has, like... You pay attention to this island right here? It's, like, in... reflection of the shallows. Very interesting. I'm not sure what that is, but interesting. Yeah, so I mean, for me, I'd say in terms of art, it's really like the maps. A lot of maps need to get done. Maps are kind of like the biggest thing that is encroaching up on me. Pretty big deal there. In terms of like, okay, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Solve that in a second. this open to interpretation. I'm not going to rely on this. Oh, yeah, yeah, it must be an editor thing. Yeah, I think you're right. I've seen it before. Very interesting. Yeah, yeah, it's really maps. Like, I think I have quite a few. There will always, every other week, there will always be, like, some new character or something that needs to get done, right? Like, that's just going to be a constant throughout this game's life cycle. But, maps in particular is something that I haven't spent too much time on because there's always, there always seems to be a bigger fish to fry. But that is slowly becoming like one of the bigger priorities. That, and then just kind of like, it's really just a lot of rinse and repeat, man. Like hammering out different factions. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like I do think that my game is possible. But it is just going to require a lot of hard work to be fully realized. In order to ship. Sorry, I'm like multitasking here. I'm not doing a good job at it. That's what I'm not doing. I needed to get a lot more maps done. I need to get a lot more factions done. There's already a decent amount done. Like, I'd say at least 50%. And we're talking, like, even into the early access cycle. So, like, that's pretty good. And the workflow is pretty established for the game, which is good. Because that means that, like, creating additional content in the future is, like, well, there's the workflow's been established. Like, we understand more or less, like, what it takes to make a faction. But I've kind of come to learn, as you guys can see, like right now, like, I don't know, making environments takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. I don't know about your game, but in my game, it takes a lot of time. And I'm sure I'll get better at it over time, and I'm sure I'll get faster. But right now, it takes a while. And in order for our game to like be viable, like essentially, so my plan is that every faction will get 3 maps. They will get a standard size map, a large size map, and then a siege map. So that way, when you're playing a campaign, let's say you're playing the humans and you want to go and invade the orcs, you fight them in this region, and then you fight them in this region, and then you siege their capital and you destroy it, and that's how you conquer them. And so, if we're talking 3 maps per faction, I'm not a math person. It's alright. Calculator. Oops, I'm moving the stream window. Don't do that. Calculator. Just for the demo alone, we have Aranor plus Molten Legion plus Lichborn. Oh, well, okay, sorry. No. That's a demo. So just 3 maps. 3 maps for the demo. Easy. But early access. Plus the Chitorg, which I already said in this stream. Plus 1 more race that I can't confirm today. Plus 1 more race that I also can't confirm today. 6 factions that we're hoping to release with the early access version of the game. At the very least, probably. Times 3 maps, because you have to have all 3 of the maps for those factions in order to fully feature them so that they can be invaded and raided and blah, 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 so on and so forth. It's 18 playable maps at early access. And what did I say at the start of the stream? I said I would love it if this came out Q4 next year. It's about 1 year from today. So that gives me 365 days to make 18 maps, minus the 3 that I'll already have done for the demo. So more like 15 maps. I have to make 15 maps within the next year, which means I have to make a map faster than a month at a time. Presumably with all of the other things in development I'm doing, probably a hell of a lot faster than 1 map month at a time. In fact, it sounds to me like I would be cutting it close if I completed a new map every 2 weeks. Kind of sounds to me like in next year that's what, if I want to be delivering this stuff on time, that's kind of what I'm gonna have to do. Is that cadence. The good news is that I'm literally him, so I can do it. And I'll stop at nothing. Don't worry, I got this. Fret not, dear viewer. The fate of the world hangs in the balance. The fate of the world of Eldinar hangs in the balance. Cool. Okay. It's looking pretty cool so far. It's getting there. It's like chiseling it in layer by layer by layer. I'm just kind of trying to get the broad strokes out. I mean, art, right? Get the broad strokes in, and then you come in and you start detailing. That's kind of like what I'm doing with this whole map, to be honest. It's a bunch of broad strokes and saving all the details for later. I mean, detailing, in my opinion, is like the fun part and the easy part. You got to get this part down first, because you can throw a bunch of details on a turd, but it's still a turd, dude. Like, you want something that has good structure, has a good design. Okay, let me slope this out a little bit. No. So this in particular, actually, I guess this kind of counts as a bonus one, right? So it's actually kind of like 16 instead. This is the campaign map. Let me turn the atmospherics off. So this is the campaign map. So, like, think of like Total War. I'm not sure you ever played that. Total War, Mountain Blade. It's the overworld map. It's an overworld map where once you start, you in the campaign screen, you choose which race you want to play, and then you get plopped into this. If I choose, I want to play Chaturg, right? Like the camera will open here or whatever. I'll be like in Krageth, and I'll have, here's the regions that I have or whatever, and you can, in the campaign screen, you can start like unlocking units. You can upgrade your units, like their different stats. You can get like different, like I think I'll call them like runes or something, and you can like augment units and like add fire damage or add lifesteal or do this or do that, like do cool little things like that. And then from here, you would move your camera around and you'd start to figure out like where you want to invade next. So do you want to go north? Do you want to invade the Spires of Karoma? Do you want to invade the Samurais? Do you want to go west and invade the Throgar orcs, the barbarians, or do you want to go south and invade the Kitani, the Amazonians? You would figure it out. And so that's why the game's called Conquest of Eldinar, right? Because what you're looking at here is the world of Eldinar, and your objective when loading into a campaign is to conquer it. You want to conquer the world. And so I want a fully realized 3D version of the world of Eldinar, which is what I'm working on right here. Fully 3D version of this world. Yeah, so it's kind of made with a different like design philosophy than a lot. I don't know if you've ever seen other Eldinar gameplay, but like certainly like Galewind Valley doesn't look like this. It's a much more standard kind of environment. This is not a standard environment because this is more, the design intent of this map is this is not to scale. It's more of a God mode perspective. It's like miniaturized and whatnot. It's supposed to convey general like scale ideas. Steam Springs down there. Yeah, that makes sense. It will certainly look great in the end. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's. I mean, maybe you understand this, maybe you don't, but like, I feel like there's always a certain level of insecurity that comes from being an artist when you're showing people something that is it's a sketch, man. You know, it's a sketch. That's what it is. It's just a work in progress. You know, you're just drawing like the circles. You're getting the foundation of your artwork ready. And you, as the artist, you have the vision to see what this sketch will become. You know, later, once you've painted in the fine line art and you've added in the rim lights and the shadows and so on and so forth or whatever. Like, you can see it completed in your head or whatever. But this person that you're talking to, like, they can't see it. The music. My headset just turned off. What is that? No, my headset didn't turn off. The music stopped. Because I can see that you guys can hear me. Yeah, the music stopped. Why did the music stop? Music, do your job. Yeah, okay, there's some music. That's weird. It's like, got convinced into thinking that we didn't have no more stuff going on. We're good. We're good. Okay. Continuing on with what I was saying. Yeah, there's always a certain level of insecurity of being an artist because, you know, you can see a completed product, but, you know, does the person that you're talking to, do they have the same vision? Can they see what you see? You know, a person watching the stream right now who doesn't have a lot of vision, they might look at they might be popping in and seeing like just a bunch of brown hills everywhere. And they're like, what the hell is this? Like, you're telling me this is like what the game is going to look like or whatever? And be like, bro, it's missing grass textures. It's missing trees. It's missing post-processing. It's missing atmospherics. It's missing particles. Like, it's missing so much that will be here in, you know, a month or two. We'll say a month or two. I'm working on it. Like, because I only work on this map on live stream because I want the creation of this world map to be completely documented, which is pretty cool. So I really only work on this as like a side project, essentially, on live streams. Like, when I get off of this stream, I have to go back to working on the animated film. That's the thing that I'm most focused on in development right now. A wild swing at getting some subscribers for us. Something about this is relatively incorrect, but I'm not necessarily worried about that right now. Woo! Don't do that. I need to get this slope right. It's ugly. Yeah, so it's a very tiered kind of region that has a lot of different layers to it. There's like think of it like the bottom center is like a big swamp, and then this area up here is like a jungle, and this area over here is the Steam Springs, which is one of the playable maps, by the way, is the Steam Springs. Actually, it's the Steam Springs probably, and then the jungle that will be playable. Those will be playable maps. Unfortunately, people will not get to play in Shade Marsh or the Highlands or the Spires. Like, it's too much world here to explore in one game, especially this game. But perhaps one of these days, in the very distant future of my life, we'll be able to explore Shade Marsh or the Highlands or something in a big old Eldinar World of Eldinar Craft MMORPG or something, and then people will get to play it stuff. What is that loading circle? You guys see that? You see that? You see that loading? What is that? What is that over there? I see that. What is that? Is it this? Oh, okay, got it. Has that been there the whole time? That's hilarious. I know what it is, but that was Ziad's loading circle. That because he's not here, it's like looking for him. It's like, where's Ziad? And it's like, he abandoned me. Can't you tell? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Yeah, this just needs to look better. Really, I guess there's kind of, I mean, obviously in a world with like magic and all this cool stuff. Your video about being an indie hits hard, man. Oh, did you watch that most recent one? Yeah, well, good. I mean, it's just taking a different swing, is just kind of letting people know the brutal reality of how this really works, man. It's real stuff. Like, oftentimes you're alone, you know, for lack of a better word, essentially you're up shit creek without a paddle. And I'd like to, before anybody's like, well, it's self-induced or whatever, you're choosing this, why don't you just go be an electrician or whatever, make a bunch of money? Yeah, well, I can't help the fact that I was born an artist, and it's the only thing that I love, and if I do anything else, I'll just wither away and die like my soul will. So I can't help that this is what I want to do. It's like, so I'm gonna do it, and you're not gonna talk sense into me to do anything else. So, like, let's just throw that out the window immediately. That's not happening. And so, in the meantime, I'm gonna do this, and it ain't easy. Like, it's a very coveted position. Unfortunately, it's a very coveted position, and everybody wants my job. Everybody wants to do this. I mean, who doesn't want to do this? This is literally the coolest job ever. But obviously, I deserve to do it because I'm the chosen one. So everybody else just needs to get out of the way and make room for me to be the indie game developer that I was always meant to be. Obviously. But yeah, like it's pretty rough. I don't know. I don't want to like make any enemies here today, but like, I don't know. It's probably, I'm very like, on average, I'm pretty like, I'll just be honest, like I'm fairly jaded and cynical against Gen X and Boomers, those two generations, because I just, in my personal life, don't feel like I've been supported by those groups to do what I want to do. It just constantly like ridiculed. and condemned for it. So I don't have much sympathy for them. It's difficult for me to find it. What goes around comes around, I suppose. That's the saying. A monkey. Yeah. He wants playtime, but he can wait 26 minutes. And he will get his playtime. Okay, this is fine, but it's a little bit... Let's think about this. This is a fairly straightforward path leading in and out of the zone, but should it be straightforward, though? It's naturalistic things usually have a little bit... I mean, it's fairly accurate. I see what's happening there. Okay. What if we, at the very least, did a little bit more of this? Some of this. And do a little bit of this. How old are you? I'm just barely a Gen X. 80. Wait, what? Just barely a Gen X. 80. Oh, 1980. Like you're saying you're born in 1980. Wow. I mean, no offense, by the way. Like, just to be very clear. I'm 29, so I'm actually right on the edge of millennial and Gen Z. To be honest, I am a millennial. But like 96 is like the last year of millennials. 97 is when Gen Z starts. So, being on the edge, I can kind of. I have the perspective of one of the young folk of the current climate, and you know, I'm like a person of like intense like optimism, but it does break my heart because I don't think everybody shares in that optimism with me. Obviously, you know, world's a rough place, and I've just seen so many young people have such a nihilistic, cynical kind of mindset over the future. Hope is actually a hard thing to come by nowadays, and I have a lot for myself, but I'm also empathetic in a sense that it's like, well, but then, you know, I don't know. Again, keep in mind that I'm a product of my environment. I'm only a product of my parents and of the people of Gen X and Boomers that I've been exposed to or whatever. I'm not saying I would never make a ridiculous statement as like generalizing an entire generation as being bad or whatever. Like, obviously that's a dumb thing to say. Super dumb. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying in particular is that I'm admitting essentially that I have a little bit of a bias here, and that's been building up because I have like this emotional feeling that that I feel like the majority of, you know, millennials and Gen Z that I see are struggling either emotionally or financially, and then I see the majority of Boomers and Gen X that I see around me have nice houses and nice cars, and they are not struggling emotionally or financially or anything like that. And so then I see these two things, and I see the difference between these two things, and I'm inclined to, not only because I'm one of the young people, but I'm inclined to like take their side on this and think that, you know, a piece of me, to be very clear, it's a piece, not the whole thing, because obviously there's logic and reason should prevail, right? But a piece of me thinks that like, oh, it's okay. Well, you know, it's like envy or whatever, essentially. So it's like, oh, I feel like the older generation, like they had it, you know, easier or something than I did, or so on and so forth. And look at all these young people, they're struggling and they can't buy a house, and you know, and I have to pay like into Social Security or whatever that I'm probably never going to get. You know, like all sorts of stuff is going on with that. But like, I can't fix the world's problems. I'm not him in that sense. Like, I can't do that. That's not something that a mere mortal such as myself can accomplish in one lifetime. I can make a good game, try to inspire people to be creatives. Um, yeah, and that being said, it's like I guess like a part of like my semi jaded feelings on when it comes to the Xers and boomers that I've come with is they always have like this really extremely like I haven't understand this. So essentially, like my experience with Xers and boomers, I haven't met any artists. Obviously, they exist. Right? Like obviously they exist. It's just in my bubble, I haven't met any. Every Xer and boomer I've ever been surrounded by has always just been like the kind of 9 to 5 go get a normal job kind of person, and so they condescend me. They condescend me for doing what I'm doing. They don't show a lot of belief, and so of course my reaction to that is going to be to like rebel, and say, I watch too many Rocky movies, right? It's like, okay, well, if you just keep trying, you keep making the game or whatever, like eventually, that's the people who make it, that's how they make it, is they didn't give up. And so when I have Gen Xers around me that are encouraging me to just give up on what it is that I'm doing, I'm like, yeah, but like you're saying that, but I could be the one that wins. And they're like, yeah, but statistically probably not. So you should go back to working at Boeing or Walmart or go become a technician or whatever, it is that they say. Because, right, all the only thing in life that matters is money, right? That's why they have so much and I have so little, is because that's the only thing that matters is money. It's like, okay, well, sure, that matters to you. But I would happily eat top ramen and macaroni and cheese for the rest of my life if it meant I created a great piece of art that I contributed to human society. I would happily do that than, I don't know, go make a buttload of money in my 401k or whatever and go sit on some cruise on some beach somewhere being served like Mai Tais. It's like, I just don't care about that. And I feel like every time I'm talking to a Gen X or a boomer or whatever, that's really all they care about is like, it's always financial security and like safety. And that's like the only thing that they ever care about. I don't see any of them ever talk with me about like, passion and like contributing something to the world or whatever. It's like, it's never about that. I guess you would probably be a good example of one of the first Gen Xers that I make. I'm assuming that because you're making a video game, you are, would consider yourself an artist, and that you are attempting to tell a story and you want to share this with the world or whatever. I mean, it's a pretty fair assumption, I would assume, right? In which case, you are the exact kind of person that I've not had the privilege of meeting all that much in my life. I'm hit mostly with the kind of average kind of person. But hey, like I said with the Chiturg, like I was talking about, that world building, man, it's nature versus nurture. How much of a product of our environment are we? I am all for accountability over one's actions. Like, I'm a super accountability nut. However, that being said, I also need to take into consideration that there is an unavoidable amount of spontaneity and randomness that has in fact played a factor in my life, and that's just something I got to deal with. There's no amount of philosophy I can use to avoid that realization. So to an extent, the people that I have been exposed to or whatever, it's some of that is outside of my control because I was born in the United States and born in this particular state. I was born with this particular family, born, with these particular cousins, and these particular kids went to my school, so on and so forth. You kind of get what I'm saying? Like, there's just so many factors that are completely outside of my control that maybe sometimes there is a slight precedent for having mercy on oneself or trying to extend. Saying, I guess you could take what I just said and you could actually flip it on me. To be honest, actually, you could take that and say, okay, well, if I'm sitting here whining about Gen Xers or whatever, it's like, well, they were also born into a world that they didn't necessarily have a choice over. They were born with their particular family units, and their particular generation had their particular struggles or whatever. Like, I'm sure every generation essentially has their own struggles. So it's like, who am I to like blame the previous generation or something for my problems or whatever? And that's not entirely true. That's just kind of how life works. So yeah, be clear. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I never really had people told me what I did because of the stigma of making games for a while. It was not a positive thing. I do think it's a much better thing now. Yeah, exactly. See, that's what I'm saying is, like, as much as I could complain, it's like, at the same time, though, it has literally never been a better time in human history to be a game developer. Like, it's never been better. There are struggles. Sure, there's struggles. But, like, objectively, like, it's never been easier to access game development than it is right now. So I really don't have that much room to complain because, you know, there is probably generations of people born before me that lived in a world that did not have, like, Unity and the resources, the development resources, and the teachers and the examples. Like, there's just so much going for being a game developer right now and learning how to do that process that prior generations did not have, which is why I'm not really one to complain, because I think it would be a little short-sighted to do so. You know, there's an element here of just kind of, you know, sit down, shut up, be grateful for what you got. So I guess, but that's no way to talk to somebody, because if you start talking to somebody that way, you know, then you're gonna hurt their feelings, and then they're gonna put up walls, and then they're not gonna talk to you, and then that's not good. Yeah, I have a job. It's not a fun job. I do not like it in the slightest. At all. Nothing about it. But it allows me to pay rent, eat macaroni and cheese, and keep making Conquest of Eldinar. So I gotta do it. I mean, it's pretty soul-crushing being there, to be honest. Like, I have to completely disassociate from reality in order to survive. Like, I have to absolutely turn my brain off. Like, I have developed mechanisms to retreat from the external world and completely go into Eldinar and, like, walk around in that environment and talk to those people. And I have to, otherwise I'll go insane sometimes. You know, as an introvert or whatever, like, customer service is really not my thing, and that's what the majority of the job is dealing with people's stupid bullshit. But, you know, hey, that's what it is to be a normal person, right? Like, I'm not sitting here trying to complain or get anybody's sympathy. That's certainly not what I'm trying to do. Stating it more as like a matter of fact. And you asked, so what do you do? Sounds like hell. It's I just make kettle corn. Yeah, I'm at an outlet mall. Because I'm in Washington, it's mostly Canadians that kind of come down. Yeah, spend all day serving a bunch of rich Canadians. Come down, they ask me where the Aeropostale or something is, and I'm like, do I look like I shop here? Do I look like I shop? No. Like, and there's like a map like right behind me, but they ask me anyways. Before I can even finish the sentence, well, actually, I actually don't know where that is, and there's a map. Like, before I even get to like that, the second I say I don't, like 2 words in, the person will already like turn around and like walk away. Like, oh, you're Canadian too? Oh, damn. So let me see. I'm bagging on Xers, I'm bagging on Canadians, and you're all of these. I'm so sorry. Just kidding. Yeah, I hope you can see that I'm not like actually ragging on, again, these groups. Like, I don't like generalizing like this stuff. I'm just saying, in particular, my situation, it's like Well, it's definitely Canadians. And not that every Canadian is rich. Like that'd also be a ludicrous thing to say. Um, but yeah, no, it's ironic that you are a Canadian and an Xer. Yeah, no, in particular, like I just so happen to deal with Canadians all the time. They come down on buses, and I think it's because I don't know. What I've learned is like your guys' like taxes or something are really high, and so they'll come down to like these malls or whatever because like the clothes are much cheaper down here. Um, yeah, I'm not sure why they do it. I just do. And yeah, well, that's the thing is sometimes the Canadians come down here and they don't necessarily understand, I don't know, like our customs or like our language sometimes even, and that can make it a little bit difficult sometimes to get proper service to them because they're asking for something that I don't really have. That might be normalized where they come from, but not here. And it creates friction in sales sometimes, and that is annoying when I'm trying to, again, disassociate from reality and focus on making Eldinar or something like that. That can be annoying. So yeah, I just, yeah, I'm entitled, and I wish that I was spending all my time working on Eldinar is essentially the moral of the story, because I have a very self-aggrandized view of myself, and I think I'm here to do something important, and so I'm going to make this game or whatever, and when I have to go to that environment, which is an uncomfortable experience for me, it makes me resentful of the people that I'm surrounded by. It's a very difficult, or it's a very easy trap to fall into, and I'm sure that I'm a person that has I'd like to say a very high constitution. Like I have a very high emotional fortitude and constitution. Like I never get depressed or sad or things like that. Like that's just not something that happens to me. And so I'm very fortunate and privileged in that sense. And so I'm saying this as, kind of just talking about a little bit like my life's friction, but I would not presume to have conversations like this with other people out there who are who actually struggle, who actually deal with real friction and real problems. The amount of people that I've met that struggle with serious stuff like depression and anxiety or whatever, it's that stuff just breaks my heart. It's not something that I struggle with. And so I'm very privileged in that sense that I don't know, rolled a 20 on the genetic lottery. That's just not something that I struggle with. But then it creates a little bit of a what's the word? In another metaphorical sense, it creates another communication barrier because, then I'm talking to somebody that, a nice normal person that does struggle with these very normal things, which is emotional sorrow and anguish, which is a very justifiable reaction to the world that we live in now. But the problem is that I don't struggle with those things, and so it's kind of, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying that I handle my negative emotions or dark emotions, I handle them in a different way. I think I'm much more prone to anger than sadness. And that's how I am making a game that's this crazy, right? Is I channel my dark emotions into anger and competition and competitiveness. And so I'm very dedicated to making the most badass game ever that wins on the charts or whatever. It's that's how I handle my negative emotion. But sometimes other people handle it in, I'm not trying to say one is better than the other, but lots of other people handle it in a more kind of introspective, inward kind of way that I just can't understand because it's not something that I personally struggle with. I guess the latter half of my stream just kind of turned into a giant philosophy session. I told you I'm a very philosophical person. You get me rambling, and here we go. I'll start talking about psychology and society and people, and goodness gracious. I've laced so much of Eldinar with this, by the way. It'll probably be difficult to get across elements of the story and of the characters. It'll probably be difficult to get that into the game in any significant way. but I'll search for ways to get it in there. But like, I'm very interested in telling stories that have themes of like heroism and stories that are very you know, the even the kind of the name Conquest of Eldinar, it's supposed to be kind of ironic, right? Because it's like if you actually know the story that I intend on telling, it's actually quite anti Conquest of Eldinar in a sense that like we should not be conquering the world. We should be learning to get along. And you see that everybody attempting to conquer the world kind of creates problems for us, doesn't it? And so, hi. Do you want more lap time? Do you want to come here? Well, come here. Come on. You want a pillow? Is that what you want? You're trying to get back up here again? Oh my goodness gracious. And he's back. And he's back. Anyways, the whole point of Conquest of Eldinar is supposed to be very anti-war. It's supposed to be the dangers of tribalism, right? Us versus them, which is very dangerous. And I've kind of already touched on some of this with my whole Xers and Boomers thing. You know, I'm not trying to categorize people or whatever. I'm just kind of going with the categories that, you know, humans have already made. But like, it's a very dangerous path, tribalism. When you dehumanize your opponent and you strip them of their humanity and you get rid of empathy, it'll justify all sorts of horror and evil to them. It's like the thing that I remind myself, even no matter who I'm angry at, whether it's a Gen Xer or a Canadian or my brother or whoever, like, right, you know, evil stepmom, something like that, right? I guarantee you that if you just sat a person down in a room, in a vacuum, right? You two are at a table with each other, like regardless of your differences or whatever, with enough time, I think in conversation between the two of you, you'll probably be able to learn how to care about that person, regardless of their beliefs. But I think that people are just seduced by how quick and easy tribalism is, and how easy it is to just start categorizing people in this group or that group. And yeah, so I think that's what Eldinar is supposed to tackle. You know, the true heroes of the stories, so to speak, are the characters that overlook their racial origin or something like that, you know, and they see the humanity in all the race. It doesn't matter if you have wings or horns or you come from a different world or a different part of the world of Eldinar. You know, it doesn't matter where you come from. You know, there's always something to say. Well, Ziad, I would, but like the stream's ending, so I'm actually gonna wrap it up right now. But I will get on Discord. But anyways, thank you guys for getting on again. This pig creature has hopped on me once more, and I think he needs a little bit of PLAY time. I can't say it because then he'll know. He'll spring into action. And so yeah. Yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. I mean, this stream, let's do a quick recap. What did we do? We did the crag. We finally started getting some layers into this. It's a little bit complicated, as you can see. It's like I have a very clear vision in my mind of like the elevation layers of this region. But between that and then I think we did a lot of polish over here, especially the northern regions, and we got all that cleaned up. I mean, we kind of like essentially more or less we finalized the eastern pass, and that's all good now. And now we're getting into the west. I mean, I think I really just want to get like these two done for obvious reasons to people who are paying very close attention to the stuff that I've said. They'll know why. But until then, I'm going to keep it ambiguous. But yeah, that will be it for tonight's stream. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. I really appreciate it, as always. Look forward to the animated film that we are currently making. It will, in fact, be awesome. Have a